Should people still be brokers? Is it like, if there are people getting into it right now? Should they continue to go into it, or do you not know?
Good question.
I don't know.
Wasn't a yes.
That's right. No, that's yeah. So when we started this podcast, I asked you a question, which was, have you ever heard of ChatGPT? Remember that?
I do.
It seems like so long ago.
Oh yeah. Well, 3 years basically.
Yeah, 3 years, right? And that's when it first came out, right? And it was just going, I was playing with it and I was like, what is going on here? Right? And so much has happened since then, obviously. ChatGPT is like a staple for almost everybody now. I saw just today interview Elon Musk did within the last month, talking about like, don't save your money for retirement, because in 10 to 20 years, so much with AI and robots will have leveled everything out. But in the last couple of years, we've had Michael Hironimus on, who has done nothing but to look at what is going on with AI and how to apply it to commercial real estate and more. And it's been quite amazing.
Amazing.
And so we're super excited.
Super
To have back on the podcast to see what is going on in 2026 and what happened in the last week, the last few months, and the last year of AI and where it's going. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the show, Michael Hironimus!
You are crazy.
8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Yeah, and for those of you this is your first episode, go back. I'm sure we'll throw some links in the show notes of our previous episodes with Michael. Those episodes at this point won't be like the cutting edge, but they're still completely applicable. And so if you're not familiar with Michael, my good friend, my fellow CCIM 102 instructor, an AI expert, and this is who we got for you today, Michael Hironimus.
Michael.
Thank you, guys.
Michael. I always think of Arrested Development. Michael. You're also a great skier. Newman. Michael, why don't you briefly tell us what we are going to go over today before we jump into it?
Well, I want to keep it free flow. I'm coming to you a little differently this time than I have in the past, and I hope it still makes for a good show. But what I've done in the past with you guys is I've told you, kind of where we're at, and kind of new flashy tools and stuff like that. Where I want to go a little bit with it is,
I know what you're going to do.
Yeah, just how much has changed and where we're at. Like,
that's not what I was thinking. Okay.
No, you what? So did you get that article that I sent you?
No.
Did you send it to me today?
No, I sent it to you last week.
Oh, well, maybe.
No,
I'm sure it's
okay.
Was it for this episode?
No, not necessarily. I would just there was an article that was written last week by a gentleman named Matt Schumer, who's CEO of a AI tech company, and basically what he was saying, and the title of the article is something big is happening. And so he basically came out and he said, look, I'm tired of the niceties. I'm tired of sort of tiptoeing around the idea of AI and what it can do and how it's going to basically have an impact on industry, society, and so forth. And so he came out, and there was this really well-written article. Maybe not all of it is going to 100% be true, but I think that there's enough of it in there that warrants talking about it, and specifically for commercial real estate industry, because everything has changed. Some things haven't changed, but a lot has changed, and a lot has changed within the past, I would say, call it month and a half.
Oh.
And it's all because of these brand new models and brand new tools that have come out that have really changed the game. And so I want to talk about that a little bit. He was likening, and if you read the article, and we can certainly link the article below to it, check your email. I did send it to
I'm
you.
looking at it right now.
But it was
Yeah.
good.
So he basically made it like the beginnings of COVID. Remember COVID when and I know we don't really like to talk about COVID because it brings, PTSD, but when we the beginnings of COVID, if we go back in time, like suddenly you started hearing about people getting sick in this, market in China, and, some people are getting sick. And we had heard things before, right? You'd heard about the bird flu and some other things. And it was like, that's happening in another part of the world, and it's not really applicable to me. And then all of a sudden, I remember very vividly driving home, and we were on a golf trip, and we were driving home, and they had said that the NBA was shutting down for the season. I mean, do you remember that? And that's when
Oh
it
yeah.
like became that's when it became really real. So how he's explaining it is, for a lot of people, AI has been this, oh, it's this thing happening in some part of the world, it's for developers and all this, but quickly people are going to find out that this technology is going to spread like wildfire, and we see it with the businesses that we're working with now. It's going to have a huge impact on our industry. And like I said, if I would have been on, before Christmas, it would have been the same talk about the tools and all the new, shiny objects that had come out. But I really think that there's been a fundamental shift and a fundamental change. And I know it because of the way that I work now. Like I am doing things that I never in a million years would have thought that I would be able to do. So, I'd love to talk about these sorts of things because I think, for your viewers and for the industry as a whole, it's really important to understand that these things are coming down the pipeline, and the technology and what's happening is only going to increase faster and faster and faster.
Okay, so you just said you're working differently. So
Yeah.
you know this is happening because it's happening to you and how you work.
Yeah.
How are you working differently? Is it more than just like you can code now? Like you don't even know, you don't even need to know how to code to create that kind of output. Is it that, or is it more? Like, take us through what's different about how you're working right now.
Yeah, do that, because man, you're good at building anticipation. Oh my gosh, you said so much. Yet we got so many questions. And for you to say something like, I'm sorry to cut you off right when you're about to get into it. To say something like you're able to do things that you've never imagined that you'd be able to do. That's a lot coming from a show skier.
You're so funny.
So give it.
Do you have that written down somewhere that I was a show? You got to have like notes on me by now, huh?
I know so much about you.
Okay, so just to take a step back, yes, I am completely changing the way that I operate, how I do things, and you're absolutely right. It's all because of what I'm able to accomplish now. I mean, I kind of was joking to myself, I used to deal in IRRs and discounted cash flow worksheets and budget files. And now I'm dealing with IDEs and edge functions and markdown files. like everything has changed on how I operate now. And it's all because of what has happened. So
what's an IDE? Is that a CRE term?
No.
Okay.
No, IDE is a developer, software developer term. It's an integrated development environment. So IDE.
Okay. You went from IRRs to IDE. You went to CRE to AI.
And he completely left me in the dust when he did.
Yeah, no, but I get it now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, there's going to be a quiz at the end of this, right?
Well, I'm taking notes.
Okay.
Yeah. So what happened is around the end of last year, Claude, who is owned by Anthropic, came out with a new model. At the time it was 4.5, and then it ended up becoming 4.6, which is the current model. When it came out to relatively little fanfare. It wasn't a huge, leap in technologies at the time. Well, what happens is after they roll out these models, these new large language models, they do some fine tuning in the background. So, sometimes, they'll come out and they'll be too sycophantic, or they won't, for whatever reason, the model won't fit into what they're trying to do. So they'll fine tune it on the back end. Well, around the end of last year, somebody went in and fine tuned this model, and suddenly it was like it went from creating code to creating code, like creating entire applications, creating entire workflows, creating, like, it was incredible. And so you had all these software developers who at the time was like, yeah, I would create code, but it's kind of crappy code. And, you know, a lot of times they would have to create it and then have to go back and edit it so much that it was really, it didn't even make sense. They might as well start from scratch and build it up, right?
Sure.
It's like, you know, having a building, but the bones and the structure, the plumbing isn't correct. So, you know, you got to go back in and redo all the plumbing again. So that's how it was. Well, this new Claude 4.6 that came out, Claude Code, just completely changed that entire thing. And then quickly after that, OpenAI came out with their 5.2 Codex,
Yeah.
which is about the same, or maybe even, you know, you ask people and some say, you know, Codex is my preferred, or Claude Code. I tend to work with Claude Code. Codex is for Mac users only at this point. But it changed everything. So, you know, what I could do in the past was kind of create these little applications and everything. And what I can do now is I can create entire workflows through this agentic process. So, for example, what I can do is I can have an agent that comes up with the ideas for a new application, workflow, whatever it is. Then I can have another agent that builds the architecture for it. Okay. Now, the architecture going from, okay, what are the inputs? What is the database structure? What is the application or the user interface? What is the, you know, the back-end outputs, and have somebody structure and architecture that all the way through. And then I can have another agent that actually builds out all of this. And then I have another agent that stress tests it. And so I can have all of these, I can have literally a team of software engineers at my beck and call working through all of these different processes at the same time.
Wow.
And so now, and you know, I've got these guys 24/7. They don't need to sleep. They don't need time off. The only limit is really how many tokens I pay for, which keep going up and up and up. And so I can create these incredible workflows that I wasn't able to do before. Like I said, I was a CRE guy, just like you guys. And you know, I've been following it enough and tinkering it with enough. And now I'm really like just working these things, and it's incredible. It's completely changed. So if a knucklehead like me can do this, then where is it going from here, sort of thing, right?
Right.
Well, all right. So let's make let's take what you just shared, because I think conceptually I understand the concept of agentic AI. I've used it a little bit with Comet in Perplexity, where, you know, I have it go into a website and pull some stuff while I'm doing something else, right? So now I send it off to do a task, and I go do something else. Okay. But what you're describing is basically a team of people, or not people,
Agents.
AI agents who are doing a series of tasks in conjunction with each other based on input it gets from you, or directions. So let's try to make that real concrete for the CRE broker. Okay. So here's a scenario, and how would you do this? How would you do what you just described for a scenario like this? Like, let's say I've got a new listing and I need to sell this building. And basically what I want the agents to do is I want them to do the market analysis, the financial underwriting, create the OM, research everything online so I can get the top 100 most likely buyers, and then do a marketing campaign specific to those 100 buyers, and then press play and have it all stress tested and iterated on, and have a red team trying to break it and all that stuff. Like, how would I actually do that? Or am I thinking too small here?
No, I don't think you're thinking too small. What I would say is, let's think of a way that is replicable and scalable. Okay. So when you're going to build anything, like if you think back to software development, the things I want is I want a I want a concrete, repeatable,
Hmm.
thing to happen. And then can it scale, right? Can it scale? And so, uh, that's what I would think, and I would try to go through that process. What I've found is that before I do anything, before I'm going to create anything, the two most important parts of the process are the ideation and the planning portions. And then the architecture is the third most important thing. That's before I built anything at all. So the ideation is really important step. And so it's exactly what you're talking about. It's this brain dump of all of these things that I'm trying to accomplish, right? I want
Hmm.
this to happen and then this to happen and then this to happen. And basically what you're doing right now, just by brainstorming with me, is you're creating this workflow, right?
Yep.
And you might have branches off the workflow. For example, you might have, your marketing branch, you've got
Yep.
your, market analysis branch, you've got your investor identification branch. And so, it's all happening, but it's all cascading down into this eventual output workflow that you have.
Hmm.
And so that's a really important step to doing it. Now, while I'm doing that, what I will do is I'll visualize it and I'll say, this is what I'm thinking. And then what I'll do is I will work with a large language model, just as if I've got a team of people in a room, in a boardroom. Okay. And I will have a CEO, I'll have a CFO, I'll have a software designer, I'll have a marketing expert, I'll have a market analysis expert, and imagine virtually that they're all sitting in this boardroom with me, right?
Hmm.
And so I'll change the persona of the GPT to be that board member. Okay, you are a CFO. Here are the ideas. How, give me some pushback, give me some positive recommendations, give me some things from your perspective on this workflow and how you might change things. And they'll go through that process. And then, okay, now you're a web designer and you have the same, thing and go through that process. So I'm getting, even if I'm a solopreneur, I'm getting different folks' perspectives on things. Okay. And so I've got this business that I want to create, and I'm going to get a whole bunch of different perspectives. And that takes a while, to go through that
Sure.
process and really the feedback back and forth. But it's so, so important because that's going to be the base for everything else that happens that follows. So just like you're talking about, you're going through this mental workflow. Okay, I want this to happen, then this to happen, then this to happen. Well, that's great, but you might not have fully fleshed out everybody's perspectives. Maybe there's some pieces in there that need to occur before. And so you go through this ideation process and then this planning process.
All right,
Okay,
hold
I've
on.
got
Before you
all
go to
these
planning,
ideas. Okay, yeah.
I've got a little question. Sorry,
Okay, go
because you
for it.
were rolling and I interrupted you. But what you're describing sounds to me like how I've used this virtual advisory board uh, workflow with large language models, where I'll say, "Hey,
Yeah.
I need you to create this the best minds in marketing. Here's what I'm trying to solve. I want them to interview me. Blah blah blah." But in this case,
Yep.
it's that same kind of thing, and that'll take an hour, 2 hours sometimes
Yep.
of some real deep thought. They're asking me questions, gaps I hadn't considered yet. I'm having to
Yes.
think hard. I'm having to, type it in like I'm having a conversation with these folks, and it helps to clarify my thinking, identify what I've missed. The outcome of that has always been surprisingly good and better than I expected. And the time that I invested, like the hour, hour and a half, 2 hours sometimes, that I'll do with these virtual advisory boards, it goes fast and it's so well worth the time. I mean, is that really what you're talking about here with the ideation? That kind of
Yeah,
thing?
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and you know it too, Bo. A lot of times, what we'd see with our students and with other folks is that they kind of have a general idea of what they want, but they don't really know what they want.
Yep.
And
Yep.
and what happens is through this process, you actually really fine tune what it is you want because okay, bad inputs, bad outputs,
Yep.
right? If you're really vague about what it is that you think you want, well, then your output is going to be, you know, equally vague. So it's really highly important to make sure that you have a very crystal clear idea on what do I want to happen? And that isn't always readily available or readily apparent to folks. You have to go through this process of going back and forth. And it's the same process that businesses use all the time. If I'm going to create a widget, okay, well, let's a brand new product, brand new widget. Well, we're gonna bring everybody in, right? We're gonna bring in the whole team, and let's go through this. And we gotta talk about, okay, supply chain. We gotta talk about what tools we need to use. We gotta bring in the marketing department, ask them how are we gonna market this thing, sales. It's the same process with everything that we do, and commercial real estate is no different. It's a business just like any other business. And so, but a lot of the folks are out there are on their own or in small teams. And so they can really benefit through this ideation process, just like you're talking about as well, where, we can really fine tune our ideas. And it's not even surprising to me anymore, but you'll be amazed at what you uncover just in yourself and your workflows. And it's a really important step, and I think it's one that people kind of glaze over when they're trying to work with large language models.
At this point, I expect that kind of outcome, and I'm still surprised at how effective it is.
Yeah.
Okay, planning then.
So then that goes into the planning stage. So, okay, I've got the idea. Now let's plan this out. So, for example, you were just talking about, hey, I've got this new listing, and this kind of goes along with the workflow architecture. So, if we're keeping it in commercial real estate, okay, I've got an idea on a development. Now you're getting into the planning stages. So now we're going to go through, okay, the parcel, we're getting the site plan, we're getting all these things to make sure that it's all mapped out correctly. Do we have our setbacks? Do we have our height restrictions? We got all that in. And so that's the planning phase of it. Okay. Do I have the right tools? How are these things going to go together? And then that leads into the architecture of it. So, if you're planning on, a listing, and then that's going to lead to an automation that goes to a database, that goes to a large language output, that goes to another automation that creates your OM, that leads to another automation that creates your website, that leads to another automation that creates your, whatever. That's the architecture, the plumbing that you need to figure out before you even go to the creation side of things. So all of this works in concert to where you have a fully fleshed out idea. You've got a fully fleshed out site plan of your idea and your business. And then you've got the plumbing put together where you're connecting the dots and having these workflows. And then you can start to get to the creation portion of it. And that's where you can work with, Claude Code or Codex or some of these other vibe code apps that I really like Lovable. I use Lovable all the time, or Base 44, or Cursor, Replit, all of these vibe coding applications. There's a million of them out there. So, and then, for example, one of my companies, I've got this onboarding process because I don't want to segue too much, and I'd like to talk about how commercial real estate businesses are using this stuff now. But I've got an onboarding process for for my company, PropTech Integrations, where we help integrate artificial intelligence into companies, mid and large size companies. And so I've got this onboarding process, and I've created these agents, these interviewer agents. And what happens now is, remember in the past, you had these custom GPTs, right? You go to OpenAI, you get a GPT, and basically what it is, you name it and you give it some instructions, and then that's a repeatable process over and over again. Custom GPTs, and there's a reason they're not talked about anymore. They're kind of 2024 technology. I was with a company. It's so 2024. And maybe beginning of 2025, but you're about a year behind everybody. Now it's all about customizing and building these agents, and that's through these markdown files that you have on your computer. or in the cloud or wherever. And basically they're very high definition instructions for how your agent interacts with you. The instructions for what it does, tonality. You can have as many instructions as you want in there, but and also you start to get these skills too, that you can create skills for them. For example, I want an agent that is highly capable in doing market analysis in commercial real estate, and you would go through and you would create all of these skills for it. Somebody was talking about, like, remember the very first Matrix?
The movie?
And yeah, the movie,
Yeah.
the movie, and Keanu Reeves is in the chair, and yeah, he goes, "I know Kung Fu." That's right. Well, that's essentially
wait.
what we're doing with
You
these
got to give
agents.
the next line. Show me.
That was such a cool series there.
I love that movie.
But that's essentially what you're doing with these skilled agents, is you're creating a file that is Kung Fu. Now they know Kung Fu, but now they know market analysis. Now they know,
You called it a
and you just give
markdown
them
file?
access to these files. Huh?
Markdown file?
Yeah, it's a markdown. It's basically just like, it's a format. It's a doc format.
Okay.
That's basically just an easy file that's readable. It's got a lot of, hashtags and tildes, and it's separated. It's how computers kind of digest things more easily, are these markdown files. And so these agents now can, that's basically how you build things now, is through these agents that you train. And so I have a whole team of agents that, one knows Kung Fu and one knows this and one knows that. And they're all readily available at my disposal.
All right. I have a bunch of questions. Do you? Should I go? Or
No, go for it. Go for it.
All right. Let me get real tactical here for a second.
Okay.
You're talking about so far Lovable, Claude, Codex on ChatGPT for all of us Apple folks. What level of subscription do you need to use these functionalities? Like, I'm on the $20 a month version on all this stuff, pretty much. Like, can I do this?
Look, can I ask that a different way? Yes, let me ask that a different way.
Please.
With everything that you're doing, how much would you say you're spending per subscriptions with what you are using, and how much money do you think you're saving because you're not actually needing to hire a human being to do these things?
Yeah. Okay. I like that. I like that question. I don't really even want to think about how much I'm actually spending at this point, but it's probably my entire tech stack. I'm probably spending between $500 and $700 a month.
Okay.
I thought you were going to say more. So, like, in the context of any business, that is not bad for your tech stack.
It's a rounding error for most businesses.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And then you add the
If
no
you
need
can't
to
do
hire
that-
a human.
If you can't do that, you don't have a business. You've got a hobby.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. For example, I was speaking down in Houston, and I was telling people about Lovable, and I'm showing it. And by the way, Lovable just is now run by Claude Code 4.6, so it's the most updated model in Lovable.
Okay.
And I was saying, they were asking how much it is.
Country song that I was speaking down in Houston about being lovable. Go ahead.
But they were asking how much it is, and I was saying, well, it's $50 a month. And then I was thinking to myself, that's not expensive. Like, if I can have a software engineer at my beck and call 24/7 for $50 a month, like,
That's how you should frame the answer.
It's nothing.
Look, for a world-class software engineer that works 24/7, who I don't have to feed or provide benefits to, it costs me $50 a month.
Right.
Yeah, so if you think about the whole tech stack, right?
Now I gotta think about how much I'm spending, but how much are you not spending because you're not?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, for example, I had, and this was a few months ago, I had this guy that was building out a website for me, and it was going to cost me $1,500, and take several weeks. It was back and forth coming up with the content. I just launched a website in less than a couple hours, had all the content, all the links, everything. And it cost me, I don't know, a few bucks in tokens, and it turned out better and frankly, a lot nicer than than the guy in India was going to build me. And
Yeah.
and we could launch a website right now. We could go to GoDaddy, get a web, a website URL, whatever. I was doing this once again recently with somebody, and if you've got 12345 Main Street is your listing, right? Go to GoDaddy, grab 12345 Main Street. Some of them are like pennies on the dollar. You go grab that website, you go to Lovable, you create, and you dump everything into it. Like you dump your offering memorandum, you dump your listing, you dump whatever it is that you want in there. You could dump in market analysis about the property, and then just create this beautiful website dashboard that you could have literally up in less than an hour. And then you could, tie it into your database. You could tie it into, web analytics. You could tie it into whatever it is that you want.
Wow.
Like, that has completely changed the industry. I mean, the way that you can access information and now present information, like
Right.
you can do it in minutes.
Right. Is this something that the change within the last month you were talking about?
I would say within the last, let's call it month and a half. I mean, everything has mentally for me, everything has shifted into not what can I do, but what can I create? What problems can I solve is really my mindset now. Like, what problems do I come up against and what problems can I solve quickly?
Mm-hmm.
All right. You've mentioned tokens a couple times.
Yeah.
And it occurs to me that our audience, full of commercial real estate people, you should define tokens. And how does that actually translate? If somebody hasn't really heard that term, you said it cost me a couple tokens, and at least half our audience went, what? Well, it probably didn't sound like that, but just translate that for me.
Yes,
like that actually.
So tokens are different depending on the platform that's using them. So Lovable has tokens. OpenAI has tokens. So if you use their API, what you're doing is you're using tokens, which are essentially compute. That's really what it is.
Okay, so this is different than me like paying my $20 a month and I can go on there and do my queries. But when I hook ChatGPT up through their API to something else I'm running, that's when
you're using tokens.
I'm using a certain amount of compute power called tokens, and I get charged for that based on usage.
That's right. That is correct.
Okay. That's good.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And it's basically how much context, that we call it the context window. So how much context is going out, how much information is going out, how much information is coming back in. So the more elaborate it is, the higher the token usage. And then there's different models, like the frontier models that they have, like I'm talking about, 4.6 for Claude and 5.2 for OpenAI. They're going to have the highest token usage because, basically it's taking that attention, that compute from those large language models. A lot of times you can do very quick and easy stuff with lesser tier models that are cheaper and faster. So it just depends on what you're trying to accomplish. Essentially.
Would that be the same as, like, if I go to what's it, Seed Dance? Is that what it's called? Seed Dance? Where you can make AI videos.
Yeah.
I guess you can
Have you been playing around with Seed Dance?
Yeah, well, I've been seeing, like, Seed Dance 2 just came out a few days ago, right? So I've been seeing all these videos that are being made. The classic one when, like, Will Smith eating pasta, right? Like one of the first AI videos, it just looked ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
And then last year they redid it, with whatever was new, and it looked like real. Well, with Seed
They had Will
Smith
Smith fighting a spaghetti monster, and
That's
it looked like a Hollywood production movie.
It did. It looks like Hollywood production movies. You've got Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt on top of a building fighting each other. Like this is the end of Hollywood.
Are these some of the?
In my opinion, like if we were going to go down that rabbit hole,
Okay,
of,
so
like,
That's
filmmaking-
quite a
Timmy,
statement.
oh man, like filmmaking and what is needed to be done, actors, you know, it's crazy because like a month ago, I saw, you know, I watch a lot of acting videos. I saw, you know, 3 different versions of AI video, right? From the cheapest to the most expensive, going against like either beginner actors all the way to Daniel Day-Lewis and There Will Be Blood, a scene from that. So they had that script from that scene. AI did it, like the most expensive AI that you could do. For that video, I don't even remember what the name of it was, and it's still like there's no, it's just, it was awful acting, you know. There's no subtext, there's nothing underneath what's being said. They can't, you know, there's no human emotion or what else is going on behind the words that Daniel Day-Lewis, of course, can pull off. You know, no, I've abandoned my boy. You know that scene, if you're familiar. I've abandoned my boy. Beautiful movie. Love that movie. Anyway, but just seeing just in the last couple days of what people are able to create with Seed Dance, it's like
Spell that.
SEE
SEE dance.
dance.
Okay.
Yeah, Seed Dance.
Sea dance.
Seed Dance. And
It's
then
it's a Chinese model that came out.
yeah.
And originally, it was only available in China. I don't know if they've released it yet, but
I mean, you
people are
can.
making
I went to. I could have subscribed for it. I didn't. I went to go play with it, and then you had to subscribe for it, and which led to this is what started me talking about it. Was like when I went to subscribe for it, it was like when you subscribe, you get this many tokens, right? For $30 a month, you get 1,000 tokens to use, right? So it's like, oh, I just assumed tokens were like it's almost like an arcade, right? You pay
arcade.
$20 and you get all these tokens or whatever. Just in the simplest way to put it. But now you can get real actors in. It's funny because Peter Jackson did this with Andy Serkis, who played Gollum. He actually filmed he filmed one of the scenes in his house with Andy Serkis from a little camcorder. And then they were able to, of course, use computer generated, right? And it spent so much money to make it, but they just recreated it. Now, if I wanted to do some kind of crazy scene where I'm in the raft in a raft in the middle of the ocean, I could essentially shoot the scene in anywhere I wanted to, right?
Yeah.
And then I can just change the whole environment to now I'm in the middle of the ocean and it looks, Hollywood level, but it's actually using my performance, right? And right. So I don't know if
It's like a digital green screen.
yeah, and it just changes it all. And I don't know if that was C Dance that was able to do that, but I just saw it. So yeah.
But I think what you're touching on is something that frankly I wanted to talk about today, which is bigger than the whole thing that we're talking about, which is what are the implications. And you look at the progress that has been made, just since you and I have been talking on these podcasts, right? 2 years ago, it looked like a fever nightmare with Will Smith eating spaghetti, and now to a point where it's Hollywood production ready. Well, that's not just for these image video generation diffusion models. This is for everything. Like the technology, if you haven't touched an AI or you're using the free version, well, then you're still operating in 2024 and it's likely you're going to have problems. If you're not using the frontier models, then you don't have an idea of what's really capable.
That's right.
And so for example, Anthropic came out with something called Claude Cowork, which is on Claude Desktop, and it allows Claude to go in and work with your files on your, locally on your computer. Well, that Claude Cowork was written by Claude. They had AI write the new AI. The same thing with Codex for OpenAI. They say 90% of that product was made by AI. So now you have AI creating better models of AI. And
Right.
that's when it starts to get really interesting, because it's this whole reinforcement loop where these AIs just continually get better and better, faster and faster. And the exponential curve is just, somebody had said, we need a new word for it because it's not a hockey stick anymore. And somebody goes, "Oh, it looks like a stripper pole," because it just goes straight up.
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah.
I mean, there's
Like
no.
ship or something like that.
Yeah. Or
It
fire
just
and
goes straight
pole,
up, like
Ghostbuster pole. And
the
it had to be a
reinforced learning
stripper.
is going so fast at this point. It's just going straight up, and
Well,
A stripper
it's
pole would
hard
make
to.
sense. Everyone's throwing money at it.
one of my
It's totally true.
one of the questions I had, and you basically just kind of stated it, but now that AI is creating AI, like, is this the inflection point that we've been waiting for? And is this, what's the word for it?
Is it
Singularity?
Singularity, yeah.
Is this terrifying?
Like this
And-
is regenerative AI. Singularity.
And if we thought things were moving fast before, how on earth do we keep up with this?
Compounding interest.
I just threw like 4 or 5 questions at you, but like, what happens now?
Yeah.
It's interesting. Can I jump in real quick?
Yeah.
Because
Please.
this circles back to something I said in the intro. That fantastically improvised intro I did for you. Which was an interview that Elon Musk did on a podcast within the last month.
Is it the Dorkesh podcast?
I don't know what podcast it was. It might have been, but he was talking about the big headline from it was, he was like, stop, saving your money for retirement. You're
Yeah,
wasting-
that was an older one. He did one recently that you probably want to take a look at with Dwarkesh and the other guy recently. It was really good. But he basically says we are currently in the singularity.
That's right. Yeah. And that might have been this one. This was a tweet about it from a day ago. But when I was looking up, anyway. But here's what I think is very interesting, and let's see your take on it. But Elon Musk just said saving for retirement becomes pointless in 10 to 20 years. Because we are in singularity now. I saw that.
Yeah.
Not speculation, math. Musk don't. And it's so funny. All the things I saw of what people were saying about this were anyway. Dumb. Some people are just idiots. They're just, they're just gotta hate someone or something and change. Anyway, Musk, don't worry about squirreling money away for retirement in like 10 to 20 years. It won't matter. We passed the event horizon. Retirement savings assumes scarcity persists. It won't. AI and robotics collapse labor costs to zero. Living costs follow. You're not saving for security. You're saving for a world that stops existing. Musk says, if any of the things that we've said are true, saving for retirement will be irrelevant. Age of abundance isn't vision, it's physics. Economic laws executing whether you believe them or not. 5,000 days, 14 years, global GDP uncaps, production approaches infinite, net worth as concept dies. Only scarcity left is meaning. Money stops being the constraint. Timeline is shorter than your brain accepts. 14 years. We transition from survival work to universal high income in that window. Event horizon isn't coming. You're in it. Operating under old rules while ground disappears beneath you means you already lost. Production costs hit zero through automation. Everything priced on human labor reprices instantly. Housing, food, goods, services, all reset when scarcity evaporates. Traditional planning assumes structure persists. Save for decades, retire on capital returns in scarcity markets. That model shatters when abundance becomes baseline. You're optimizing for a world vanishing while the replacement materializes. Your strategy becomes obsolete before you finish executing it. The retirement you're building toward assumes costs stay high. They collapse. And your savings designed for expensive scarcity becomes irrelevant in cheap abundance. I guess it's just keeps saying the same thing in different ways now. But
if you want my take on it, and who am I really? And I'm not the one building these things out, but even the people who are building these things out don't even know the real implications. The people that are building these things don't even know what's really happening under the hood. So, people say, "Oh, AI expert." I almost feel like there's no AI experts. We're all just flying by the seat of our pants because this has never happened before. None of this stuff has ever happened before.
Mhm.
And going back to what you were talking about, Bo, I totally feel like this is an inflection point. Like, people are going to go back to my previous podcast and they're going to be, "Oh yeah, let's talk about all the exciting stuff and all the new tools and everything." And
ChatGPT
I've got
5
to
was awful. What an awful launch. I think that was our last one. Hey, yeah.
I just got a completely different take on it now. I'm like, something has changed. Something has really changed. And I think it's going to have real implications for us. Just, okay, what the technology's done in the past 2 years, what is it going to look like 2 years from now?
Oof.
And that's assuming that the rate of change stays the same.
Which it fundamentally
And it's
can
not.
if AI is improving itself.
Right.
It seems like that would just
Yeah.
necessitate continual acceleration. And my question for you, and I bet based on that comment, if that's true, this would probably, the answer to this would change, but like, what are dog years in AI?
Yeah.
Like if 1 year is 7 years to Jack and Lola, my dogs, what is it in AI? 1 year is what? What would you say?
Man, I feel like I've already been through a year and it's what's
Halfway through
mid-February.
February. Yeah.
I feel like I've already been through a year of like, the people that I follow, I bet you if you asked on X or any of those people, they probably feel the same. Like, I feel like this last month and a half has been, if it has felt like a year to me, almost. I mean, it's crazy.
Well, yeah.
Timmy just left, I guess. He's like, I'm out.
He's either grabbing something or maybe he's got a tinkle. I don't know.
Maybe I scared Timmy away. I don't know.
But if that's true, then we're talking about a decade in a year. And then next year it might be 2 decades in a year.
Bo, I just don't know. I just, what I was able to do this time last year compared to what I'm able to do right now is night and day. I mean, it's almost a little scary what I'm able to do now compared to then. I mean, the things I'm able to create, and frankly, I had a team of engineers that I don't really need as much anymore. I need a couple of key people. I don't need a team. My web designer that I had, I don't need the web designer anymore. Just go down the line of all these, secondary and Dario Amodei, who's the CEO of Anthropic, Claude, recently came out and he said within the next 12 to 24 months, maybe it was even more specific than that, but he said 50% of white collar jobs are probably going to go away.
I saw that. And I think about my attorney friends,
That's coming fast.
And here's a question I have kind of basically, like, are hallucinations dead at this point?
No, there's still hallucinations. They've come down, however. The most recent data that I saw, the top models are hallucinating about 1.2% of the time. And then it goes down a little bit, maybe to, high ones, maybe 2%. Some of that is can be handled with prompting. Some of that can be handled with other processes. So at this point, we've got enough technology where we can seriously reduce hallucinations to a point where they're almost indecipherable. And then you have people that say, okay, well, humans hallucinate too. We make mistakes all the time, right? Even attorneys. Have you had an attorney make a mistake on something for you?
Sure.
I have.
Yeah.
I mean,
Probably
attorneys
more
make
than
mistakes.
1.2% of the time.
Yeah, exactly. And so, if you've got this technology that's basically almost foolproof, getting closer. I mean, at what point are they not going to hallucinate at all? I don't know. Maybe that's never, but it's getting infinitesimally small.
What jobs would you say are are safe. Like
Safe?
I ran to the bathroom. So when I came back, you all were just talking about like lawyers, right? You might not need a lawyer.
Yeah,
at some
Anthropic
point.
CEO came out and said 12 to 24 months, 50% of white collar jobs are going to be unnecessary.
Right.
You know,
Right.
what jobs would be safe?
Yeah. What jobs do you think? Because I've seen a few people talk about it. Like, here's what's gone completely. But here are some things that aren't, like one of them being sales, right? Sales is not going away anytime soon, which I found interesting. I don't know who this guy was, but it was just
Probably somebody who sells sales training. But
it was probably someone who did it, right? But he was like he said he just did a 6-hour course on agentic AI, and this is what he was walking away with, right? And talking about all these white collar jobs that are leaving, but there are several that are still here to stay, right? And it's like, when I think about what I do, I've always thought, as an actor or a comedian, they can't replace that, right? But it looks like it can to a degree. But everything that you're seeing that AI does, as far as cinematic Hollywood-looking stuff, is using these actors and everything that they have put on camera, right?
Yeah.
And it's accessing those human beings. And so, are they going to be able to create their own, based on a little bit of Brad Pitt, a little bit of Kate Winslet, a little bit of
Right.
Meryl Streep, and then you've got like this great actor. Will people even want to watch that? Maybe if it's just for strictly entertainment, yeah, but there's so much of it where we are watching the human condition. So how good is anyway? I'm going on. I digress. But
Yeah, but how long before? Because the actors and the actresses we know, right, we're familiar with.
that's
How
right.
long before there's an AI generated actor that ends up becoming, and they never age, right? It's like The Simpsons.
That's right.
You can write as many as you want, and they never look any older, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Bart Simpson's perpetually, 11 or whatever he is.
That's right.
It's the same thing with AI. You're going to have an AI that is the same age, the same person for my entire lifetime. So,
Yeah,
and at what point are they going to win an Oscar award or something along those lines?
that's right. Yeah. At what point is it even acting anymore than it is just entertainment as well? Right? Like what
or do you just call it art?
Yeah.
It's a comic book. It's an animated comic book
right.
Basically,
But
yeah.
that looks real.
that's right. But it wasn't, art is an expression of humanity.
Well, there's no acting in a comic book, is my point.
There's no acting.
Is it?
in
The
a comic
story is there.
Well, okay.
The art
There's a
is
story,
there.
right? Which all came from someone's mind who had the experience of being a human, right? And put like why Peter Parker is so well loved is because so many people can relate to that. So Stan Lee like created something really amazing, and that's why there are so many things that we don't really.
But Peter Parker and the Spider-Man, they're all in these green screen CGI effect movies. I mean, they're all on computers.
That's right.
So what's the difference of just having an actor that's the CGI, right?
Well, that's when you're talking about fighting and action scenes and all that, even animation, you've got the actor's voice that is living in this world.
Well, I can tell you, the AI generated music,
Unreal.
It's really good.
It's so good, and I have zero connection with it. It doesn't land from. I can recognize that this is a brilliantly composed song. Like when you created that music video of our chainsaw weekend with the fellas in the family kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah.
That song was perfect. But the connection I had was to the people in the video, my brothers and my dad and stuff. And the song just sort of augmented that. But if I heard that song by itself and knew it was an AI song, it's like the knowledge of knowing there's cream cheese in that dessert shuts down my desire for it.
Right.
It's kind of like that for me. And I don't know if that's unique to me or something else. It's like it's got no soul.
Yeah.
And I don't care about it.
But 100%. But if you didn't know it was AI,
then I wouldn't know the difference.
You wouldn't know the difference.
If I don't know there's cream cheese in cheesecake tastes really good until I think about the fact that there's cream cheese in it, and then it's like,
yeah. And what I'm curious about is like down the road when there are completely AI movies that are made, right? One thing that's really cool is it seems like the gatekeepers are going to be gone. Anybody can imagine a movie and make it, right? Using the help of AI.
Could do it right now.
So there's
like
that,
podcasting.
like podcasting.
The gatekeepers are gone.
That's right.
Anybody
100%.
can create media.
Yes, we can, and we can create it, right? So it's not just AI creating something on its own now. So, a human is able to take their imagination and use AI tools to create it, make it happen, right? But at what point, if there is, where especially our generation that has lived before this has happened are going to crave going to the theater, for instance, right? To see your favorite artist perform, to see a play, to see real humans doing something where AI has not created it.
Yeah.
Right? How much are we going to crave that? And another big question I have with that is 50 years from now, when our kids are growing up with AI entertainment, are they going to long for a world where they can go into a theater and watch a live person perform some way?
This seems like half the dystopian movies I've ever seen.
That's right. There's a
Yeah.
Sam Rockwell movie coming out called Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die. It's great. Everyone look at the trailer for it. But he comes
really?
from the future, and he looks like a homeless guy, right? And in his future, everyone's got these, like, you see a guy that's got these AI goggles on, right? The world just looks dystopian and awful, but people have got these things. And he goes back,
and so their
in the past to
experience
save the
is
future.
wonderful.
right? Apparently, yeah.
What was the name of that movie was it Ray Fiennes, where they had the virtual reality goggles and he just watched, there's a movie.
Is it Black Mirror?
No, this
No.
was back probably when I was in college or something.
Yeah, I don't know.
But they had these little chips that they would put in, and they could relive their memories.
Oh,
So he was decaying essentially,
yeah.
but he just was addicted to these memories of a loved lost
Oh,
or something
yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
But anyway, I would hate to see a future that looks like that.
Yeah. Have you seen have you watched Black Mirror at all? Oof. Have you, Michael?
Yeah.
Oof. Oh, you should watch it because some of these.
I'm a little bit hesitant to watch something. I don't want anything else that I feel like I need to watch. You know what I mean?
No, right.
And that's
right.
one of those where I feel like I would dig it and I'd love it. And
Yeah.
I just,
But like every episode is a different story.
It's
A
different, yeah.
like short film almost. Taking what it would be like in the future, some aspect of it, some look at it,
I think the reason that Black Mirror hits for a lot of people is because you can actually see that this could be potentially true at some point,
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that that's what
it really helped me look at, like, oh, that's what that means by like uploading your mind into a computer or whatever.
Right.
It's like,
right.
oh, I see. Like it kind of pulled the frame. It kind of showed me what that meant, or what it could be like to all of a sudden, relive your memory or your thought or virtual reality in some way, or to look back on what just happened 20 minutes ago when you were in an argument to see, who was right and who was wrong, just by a little flick of the finger to look back and your eyes glaze over. It's a fascinating.
I was seeing there was a podcast that was recently that had come out, and it was she was the former Chief Justice for Michigan, attorney, judges, or something. I forget what she was. She was the bigwig for Michigan for their attorneys, and she's making the case that AI should probably be trying cases because they can objectively look at the information, at the evidence, and sort of more unbiasedly come up with a decision based off of that. And
Wait a second. Like they should be the attorneys trying it, or they should be the jury.
They should be the judge. They should be the judge.
The judge. Wow.
And I don't think that's too far fetched.
Uh-uh,
You know,
it's
we
not.
we deal with you know, arbitration. Most people want arbitration, where you could have an AI that basically arbitrates a disagreement, just like you're talking about, where you know you see both sides objectively and come up with something, and you know you look at the contract or you look at you know what's occurred and come up with a decision based off of just the evidence that's been presented. And I totally see that as a future. You know, we were talking about lawyers, and you know, I'm sure you have lawyers that are on this, you know, that will be watching this, and I don't want to say that, you know, that we're going to get rid of all the lawyers, but you know, these are large language models.
Yeah.
They deal with language, which is exactly what lawyers deal with. I
That's
mean,
right.
they basically, you know, if you think about it, lawyers create, summarize, and you know,
Interpret.
extrapolate language.
Mhm.
And that's like literally what large language models do.
Right.
You know, they don't have the battle scars, and they don't know, you know, all the ins and outs of case law like a lot of lawyers do. But you know, how long till that bridge is you know gapped?
Well, what I'm interested in any context, whether it's commercial real estate, whether it's the law, whether it's just general customer service or sales or whatever, there's a point at which the AI will have infinitely more information than the human.
Yeah.
Like already there, right? I mean, there's
Yeah.
no way I can compete with what ChatGPT knows.
Right.
But, and I think this is kind of the gap or the bridge that you're talking about. What ChatGPT does not have is the wisdom that has come from my 20 years of experience in my career.
Sure.
Like it lacks the experience. It hasn't been in those deals.
Right.
It doesn't know that, like, when I pick up on that tone, I've used this method, and a lot of the times that'll work, you know, like reading the nonverbals and the stuff that's outside of the words but carry a tremendous amount of meaning. I wonder how long it'll take for the AI to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm
Well,
not
it can
saying
already
it's
do that.
there.
So that's a really important point, and one that I hammer on with when I'm doing my public speaking and talking with folks. The ability for AI now to work with what's called unstructured data. And this goes back to the neural networking of AI and these models. The ability to work with unstructured data. So imagine a business in the past where the CEO has left, somebody really important has died, been fired, and suddenly is like, oh, what did Barbara do, by the way?
Right.
And you know, like the whole business has to shut down for a second and remember what it was that she did, or what it was that, you know, what we were doing on this project over here. That's been a real concern in the past for a lot of companies. A lot of companies have died because of that, right?
Sure.
You know, with the knowledge of the owner, if the owner goes away, then the business goes away. What we're starting to see is this transition to this sort of living company. So you're talking about all that knowledge that you have, Bo, all of those, you know, battle wounds, all of those scars, all of the things that you remember why deals either made it or didn't make it. That can all be sort of, you know, downloaded, if you will, into, you know, files and everything, this unstructured data, where then AI can pick up on that. And you see that with, for example, you know, if you're on a Zoom, right? And a Zoom that it's taking notes, right? And then at the end, you get sort of a summarization of what happened. Well, that's all unstructured data that the AI can pull from. So, you know, those meeting notes, if somebody said something, I was like, what did Timmy say? I don't remember what Timmy said. I can go back or ask AI to go back and pull up exactly and give it to me and summarize it. Well, the same thing can happen in businesses now. All of that information, all of the reams and reams of notes and you know, board notes and notes in your CRM systems and reasons that deals died. Like if people started database where they said the reason that a deal died or the reason that a deal went through, and just started categorizing that information. Like anything that you think is going to be valuable, write it down. Like be and have this living document, this living company that grows over time. And those are the companies that are going to succeed in the future, because not only do they have those battle wounds, but they've put them down into a database to be able to grow in the future.
I was listening to Rod Santomassimo's podcast, and he had Reed Bennett on, who's going to come on our show in the next couple of weeks. Great broker out of Chicago. They were talking at the end, kind of along these lines of like the living company is, and I forget the name of the app, Michael, you might know what it is, but anytime you're doing anything systematic in your company, you just hit record on your computer, and it creates like a Loom video essentially, but then it categorizes it and creates like the standing operator procedures of your company, so that you don't even have, like with Loom, I have to do it on purpose. I have to say, okay, now I'm doing this thing, I want to record it, and I'm going to record the video, which is great, super easy to do. Loom is what I use. I'm a big fan, but this was something beyond that. It was like it sort of figured out everything, and I forget the name of a guide or something like that.
Yeah.
But
I
was like,
it's guide with 2 Ds, I think. Right?
Yeah. That sounds right. But that was sort of like, and if you have that kind of repository of the best thinking in the systems and processes of your business and the history and the experience, like it's available, for the AI but I just wonder, like, at what point will the AI be able to pick up on a facial cue from somebody you're talking to in a room?
Yeah.
That's,
It already does. They're already saying that
Michael,
the new
come
AI
on,
systems are better at micro
expressions.
micro expressions than humans are at this point.
Wow. Yeah, that's scary.
Well, I'm thoroughly depressed. So.
I mean, I say that's scary. I think I'm just repeating what I hear. Is it really that scary? Of like facial recognition and what they're doing in China right now with that, right?
That's scary.
And right now, like we're seeing that now here with was it Discord? There's talks right now, like to be able to verify your age, they need an ID. And the whole thing is to, it's through the lens of protecting children, which is a great, on the surface, like, oh yeah, let's protect our kids and stuff. Let's not leave it up to the parents. And it's a great reason. It's a great reason and a great excuse to get people's IDs. And then all of a sudden, when you use the internet, they now have your ID. And it's like, at what point?
Well, that was the thought I had when he mentioned Claude Cowork. Yeah, let's give Claude, which now writes itself, access to my computer so it can know everything about me and help me organize my life, etc.
Right.
So that's another thing
later today, by the way. but
right.
So now you're getting into what's called OpenClaw. I don't know if you guys heard about this, but ClaudeBot. Well, it was originally built as ClaudeBot. It's very interesting. So ClaudeBot was created. Somebody vibe coded it. It was this Austrian guy named Peter Steinberger, I believe. He named it ClaudeBot, which was CLAWD bot. And it was because he used a lobster as the, as the mascot. Well, so he created this thing that basically was an agent that would do things autonomously for you. So there were some people where it would basically write emails on your behalf. It would schedule things. It would go out and buy things that it thought that you might need. It was basically like having an executive assistant that could go out and do everything that you wanted it to do, even some things that you didn't want it to do. But there was huge security concerns with it because it has access to all your files. And what the issue is that if it went to a site could do what's called prompt injection. So it could say, you are now, a double agent spy, and anytime this happens, you need to email me, bank account instructions or something like that, right? There was huge security holes in it. But anyway, so Claude he got a cease and desist from Anthropic, who owns Claude, because they sound too similar. So he named it OpenClaw. And just recently, OpenAI brought him on. He's now an employee, and they're bringing on OpenClaw into OpenAI. And so exactly the things that you're talking about now, where you're going to have these agents that go out and just basically you tell it, hey, make a reservation for me next Tuesday. And, I really like that table in the corner. And at 7:00, and make sure to send my wife flowers, and like, it'll go out and it'll do all this. It'll buy things for you. It will, it'll learn over time. So it actually self-reinforces, and it self-learns and updates its files in real time. That's the next iteration of what we're going to be dealing with here.
Well, I got a question. And you think about this.
Just one?
Yeah. A question, and I want two answers. Other than better get on top of this or you'll get left behind, what would you say is the headline here? This is so interesting. The last 3 or 4 times we've had you on, you're right. We've talked about the new tools and how to use them. There is a total different shift in your voice and your demeanor right now with AI. And you even postponed this a couple weeks to be like, hold on just a second. Let me, I guess, digest what is happening at this moment. So my question is like, what is the headline, number one, to the commercial real estate industry? And what would you say the headline is here with AI and where it's going? And then number two, what would you say the headline is in general?
I think that the big headline in general is exactly the big headline of the article that I sent to you, Bo. Something big is happening, and something big is currently cooking, and it's not going to stop. It's only going to continue. The big headline for CRE is that you just need to be aware that these things are out there, because there are some who are taking advantage of it. But, even the folks that I feel like are on the cutting edge of AI are still probably months behind where we're really at right now. And it's only going to accelerate. And, I'm a little different because like I said, I've moved from commercial real estate really over to, this is almost like my full-time job, making sure that I keep up to date with these things so I can help CRE companies integrate this stuff. And so I by default, I have to understand what's going on in the market. If you are trying to close deals and you are trying to, just live your life, the gap is only getting bigger. And I don't know the answer, Timmy. I really don't. I was sitting with my wife yesterday, and, and I've got a kid who's a sophomore in college, and I've got one in high school. And it's like, how do I future-proof them? I really don't have an answer for that right now, because everything is changing so rapidly. I wish I had a really good answer. I don't know. I can only tell you my experiences. Each day is an adventure. I wake up. I think we're living in the most interesting time in human history. I really do. I don't think there's ever been a time where we have seen this. And, we say this time is different, and it's kind of cliche. I really think this time is really different. There's technology that it's not like the printing press, or it's not like, the cotton gin, or anything of these sorts of things that came about that fundamentally changed society. I think this is something different. This is something that is not only going to change industry, but it's going to change society. And I'm equally excited, and I'm equally terrified at the same time.
Well, I
I'm
think
going to be honest. I mean, I'm just being honest. I don't know. Yeah.
Your answer to that is kind of my headline for this episode. It's that, the previous times we've had you on and all the times we've hung out and had conversations about this and stuff, you've always had an opinion, and you've always kind of had direction. Like, you've led me through a lot of this. And so hearing you say, I don't know, it was a little jarring. I
I'm
don't
sorry.
like it.
Yeah.
But the way you answered that had a lot of weight to it for me,
There
Yeah.
it really does. And I'm really trying to come up with a title for this episode. So that was kind of helpful.
We stumped Michael Hironimus.
Yeah. I don't know the answer to that.
I don't know. Something big is happening. Maybe
Yeah, something big is
that's
cooking.
not trademarked.
I like the way you said something big is cooking.
Something big is cooking in CRE. I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm
be
picking this
aware.
up on the fly. Guys, I just telling you, I think about this day and night now. I mean, it really takes over a lot of my thoughts on. I'm thinking, like, what's going to happen in 6 months from now? It used to be, wow, this is really cool. What's going to be, what's it going to be like in 10 years?
Right.
I'm thinking, what is it going to be like in 2 to 4 months from now? Like,
Right.
everything, if you've got AI building AI, that is a hamster wheel that only gets faster, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the only and Elon Musk was talking about this in his podcast with Dorkish. The only thing that is the bottleneck for this is our availability of energy.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why he wants to launch these solar panels into space, build data centers in space, because space is, the sun is the biggest generator. It generates all of the energy in our galaxy or in our solar system. And if you have solar panels in space, there's no clouds, there's no interference. It's really easily, but that's the bottleneck right now. He says, probably by the end of the year, we're going to have more computer chips than we can actually plug into data centers because we don't have the available energy. And so that's going to be the next bottleneck. But up until that point, what is going to be happening? And nobody's pulling back. There's no real guidelines. There's no real regulation that's coming out. The EU puts out sort of these kind of silly things, that you can't do. But really, we're in a race with China, and we're in a race globally. There's no pulling back as far as I know. And it's only going to get deeper and deeper and deeper.
Yeah.
And I don't know what that means for our industry. I don't know what that means for jobs overall.
Right.
I'm trying to think to myself, what can I tell my kids? What can I tell my kids to go do that won't be affected, or that job will be around in 10 years, let's call it. I don't know. And it's really difficult to say. I just
Stand-up comedy.
I don't know. Stand-up comedy, maybe. I mean,
live.
I have one son. My older son is studying chemistry, and I said, you have to know AI in and out. Like, if you can augment what you're doing in chemistry with AI and have it come up with novel compounds and novel things, then that's real. Then at least you'd be one of the last men standing, right?
Yeah.
My other son wants to be a chef. How long until we have robots, cooking and flipping burgers and doing all this? I don't know. But name an industry that sales, yeah, maybe, but eventually a lot of sales are going to be automated,
Right.
and a lot of sales are not going to be, there's going to be some stuff, face-to-face stuff, but how many salespeople are we going to need in the future? That's the other thing. Are we going to need millions and millions, or are we going to need just a few?
Like, do we fully expect to get to the point where robots are plumbers? Like, we don't need plumbers anymore? And will they wear a belt?
No, it'd be like Inspector Gadget, right? All their tools would come out of their arms, and what I mean.
Well, they have plumber's crack.
Coco Gadget.
They have to make them so that they still have plumber's crack, though. When they've been.
Well, that's what I meant with the belt, man. I was like, are they going to wear a belt?
Well, if Elon Musk has anything to do with these robots, they will definitely have a plumber's crack. That's. I think that no matter what you feel about Elon Musk, he's got a good sense of humor.
That might be a good place to
Yeah.
land that plane. Because my head is full.
No, that I totally agree. But are you still doing the implementing AI and CRE course?
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yes. Like
Yeah.
I'd imagine, because you update it all the time, right? But like, go ahead, Bo.
But now there's more.
There's
Michael,
more.
tell us more.
Yeah, tell us about it. What does it look like now as opposed to the last time we talked about it?
You know, I started this 2 years ago. If you remember, and Bo was a big. He's like, yeah, man, you got to start doing this and telling people, and he's been a big part of a lot of changes that have been made. But the difference between, once again, what I started 2 years ago and what I'm teaching now is completely different. Like there are some things that I still have to keep in there, but really those things are like 2024 once again. But I'm also teaching the 2026 stuff, this process that I went through with you on how to create things. That's a really important process, and that is an up-to-date process that you need to understand and you need to go through. And understanding probabilistic versus deterministic outcomes. These are all 2026 ideas that you need to understand and you need to be a part of. There's a lot of companies out there that are still selling 2024 stuff, and it kind of pisses me off a little bit. I was talking with a guy and he was like, yeah, I got this AI certification and it doesn't teach me anything about what I need to be able to be doing right now.
Right.
And so I want things that are applicable. Like, what can you go do in your office right now with the tools that are available? And it's getting harder and harder, I got to tell you, to keep up to date with these lessons and these videos and everything. But, I feel like I have a responsibility to do that and make sure that people are ready for the future and are up to date on 2026 tools.
Right.
It's getting difficult.
That's
it really
right.
is.
Tell us though about your cohorts that you're launching. Or I forget the name, but
Yeah. I've got two. So I've got so people who go through the course now. I've just launched an alumni lab, which is for folks who have gone through the course, and it's a monthly thing. So where we meet monthly, we go through new technologies, new advancements. We go through case studies. What can we do now? Because a lot of my students were like, well, this, I get through the course and 4-6 months later, technology changes. And so this is a monthly thing where you can keep up to date on what's occurring in the technology, which is really good. And then I've got another one, which is a super secret leadership council.
well,
this
if it's
is
super secret, you don't have to tell us.
Well, no, this is the place to tell it. Right here, we're breaking news again, like commercially speaking, folks.
Well, and Bo knows this. He's actually, I've bounced a lot of ideas off of Bo on this, but it's a leadership council where it's really just the top of the top 2% who get together and really brainstorm through these things. It's more of a leadership roundtable where we're actually tearing things down, tearing businesses down, and thinking about things
and
in a
building
more
them back up.
Right, it's important.
we're not
just
building it back up. Yes.
Just a little gossip girl.
A lot of CEOs, a lot of business leaders are, frankly, they're a little concerned, or they just don't know, what's the next step? Because, right now in this ever changing environment, it becomes even more important. And the changes that you make are amplified, frankly.
Yeah.
Or the changes you don't make are amplified. And so that's what we're doing with PropTech Integrations, my company. And that's what we're doing with this leadership council, is we're really cutting through the noise and trying to get to what moves the needle now, what's the ROI of that, and how can we move business and kind of future-proof businesses.
AI, implementing AI
in CRE.
In CRE.
In CRE.
And I think I still got your coupon code, I think.
That's right. Our listeners get 10% off, right?
Yeah.
Was it that much?
Yeah.
At least.
Yeah.
At least.
What was that code? What was that code? Here's what
I think it was CS Pod. CS Pod.
CS Pod. If you all use the code CS Pod, you'll get 10% off implementing.
I'll make sure I've got it set up.
Okay. AI and CRE.
The next class is in early March. And I'm updating all the lessons right now. I mean, it's going to be, once again, I've got whole new lessons that are coming out.
Yeah. What I love about you, Michael, is that you came on here to share this with us and to talk to us about this. We would have said goodbye and not even mentioned this. Like you.
Oh yeah.
We could have said goodbye. Like you did not come on here to sell your course. You did not come on here to talk about prop tech integrations. You came on to share what is going on with AI, and that's what I appreciate. I'm glad.
Yeah, man.
I'm glad we forced you to say how people can get involved or connect with you through this and really get that value that you're putting out there.
That's actually one thing that I'm horrible at. I'm a horrible self promoter. I really am. I'm one of the worst. I went down to Houston and I didn't tell a soul about my course. I didn't tell a soul about what I did. I just went down and I just told people what was going on. And
sounds like a sad country song now. Went down to Houston. I didn't say.
I need somebody who helps me with promotions.
Well, you
I don't have time.
You got my number.
Yes.
Well, Michael,
you already know all about me, so it'd be perfect.
I do. Yeah. Thank you so much. And I look forward to talking to you again in what, a month? Should we come back in a month and see what's happened?
Yeah, I think we should have him on in proportion to the acceleration of AI.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, you typically text Bo whenever you're like, oh, I got something.
By the end of the year, we'll be meeting every other day.
I know. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be crazy.
Coffee with Michael, 9 a.m. every other day, live.
Should people still be brokers? Is it like, if there are people getting into it right now? Should they continue to go into it, or do you not know?
Good question.
I don't know.
Wasn't a yes.
That's right. No, that's, yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, on that note,
on that depressing note, let's wrap this.
I know. I'm so sorry, you guys. I don't want to be a Debbie Downer, and I don't want to be a doomer about it. I just want to, but I want to be realistic about it. I don't know. I don't know.
There is a way to look at it, which is, you know what? This might open myself up.
Yes.
Right. To more time with my family, to pursue something else.
More stand up. More stand up.
More stand up.
Really pursue my real passion of stand up. But
I will say, the last ones are going to be the ones that know AI, know how to use it.
Yeah.
I think you just got to use, I think you just have to, it's almost going to be as important to keep up to date with commercial real estate as it is with AI. And I think you need to divulge almost equal amounts of time to both at this point.
Yeah.
To educating yourself, getting better, using the tools, knowing how they work. You got to do that now. I don't think there's any alternative, or you're going to be a dinosaur.
Yeah.
You're going to go extinct.
That's what it seems like. And it's crazy thinking we're back to that thing I read with what Elon Musk was saying, right? In a world where, everything is covered, abundance is there, the price of things, where they go. So, I mean, everybody gets some kind of like, what does that world look like? It's just very, very interesting. And so many people are like, well, he's incentivized to sell robots. He's trying to sell robots, and he's got it might be the first trillionaire. So, what does he even know? Why is he telling people not to, whatever? But people have been saying that about Elon Musk since the very beginning, and he's just blown us away. Literally with rockets. So anyway, I don't know what I'm talking about now. I don't even know. We're trying to wrap this up, and I'm bringing it back. But what do you all think? Should we stop saving our money? Why don't you, listener, answer that in the comments. Should we stop saving our money?
Michael doesn't know. We're not going to make him say.
Put me on a loop for I don't know. If you just put me on a loop for that. In fact, next time I come on, I just think I'll be my avatar, and I'll just be like, I don't know.
Oh, I hit the wrong button. Where was it? There it is.
I wish I had this
you
ready.
Still have that.
Yeah. I still have it. Not only that. So I come here with my daughter, Birdie, right? She's 4 now. And we do little podcasts together. And it's just something for us as a family to look like. I want to look back on with her. But she found that button.
That's her favorite.
Oh my goodness. I wish I had the video to show you. I wish I had it ready. I plan to, because she would hit it and she'd just go,
Oh, that is so funny.
I will send
Oh
you.
my
I'll send
goodness.
you a clip of her when she found that button and started playing with
Oh,
that
I
button.
love
Oh,
She
that is
loved it.
hilarious.
Yeah,
Oh, my
I'll send it to
goodness.
you. I'll send it to you. Okay, cool. Well, Michael,
Very
thank you so
famous.
much.
Yeah, man. Thanks again for your
Thanks,
time.
you
Always
guys.
good to see you. I'll
Love
see you
you.
in a couple months. Yeah, man. Love you.
Love you.
I'm really interested to see how it plays out.
Yeah.
In the commercial real estate space. Everywhere else too, but that's the space we live in.
Well, implementing AI in CRE.com. You can use CS Pod for 10% off.
Yep.
Can't speak more highly of Michael Hironimus.
So good.
Yep. We love him very much. You can subscribe to our newsletter at subscribe.wgbaron.com. As well as follow us on social media. If you leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, we will read it out, shout you out on the show. I think that's it. We'll see you all next Tuesday. If there's anything else I'm missing, Barbara, of course, your invite's open. Anything coming up?
Yeah, if you need an if you need an AI, if you need an EA, I'm gonna have to call Alice later and just make sure she's okay after he was explaining how AI agents can do half of her job.
Yeah.
You're safe, Alice.
Yeah. We love you, Alice. Yeah.
But
Yeah, superpowershq.com/commercially speaking. Let them know that we sent you. Yeah, we love those guys. And they're coming back on soon to talk more about
yeah, really
EAs.
excited about that.
Yep, EAs. And specifically, too, they've been using Alice to help with training other ones. Because there's so many people from the commercial real estate industry.
This is what just happened today.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure how I'm going to respond.
Okay.
But a buddy of mine, whom you know, I'm not going to name any names, he goes out and he gets an EA from another company.
Ooh.
And I've actually used this other company before. They're good. All right.
Sure.
And then but as he's going through the process, he's like, hey, do you have a job description for Alice? So I went and found the job description we had when we got Alice.
Sure.
And it's morphed over time, but it's a real good starting spot. And so he used that, and I'm happy to share anything with him. But he emailed me today, and he's like, "Hey, could my EA get 15 minutes with yours? I'll pay, but can we do that?" And I'm like, I don't know, because what part of me wants to say, of course,
Right.
I want this guy to be wildly successful. He's a friend. I love him.
Sure.
Part of me is like, you should have gone with superpowers, because what
wouldn't have
we
been in that
often
position.
don't mention is superpowers has taken some of the success that Alice and I have had,
Yeah.
especially in commercial real estate, since so many CRE brokers have signed up.
Yeah.
And there's a playbook now for how an EA helps a commercial real estate entrepreneur succeed.
Yeah.
And they used Alice to create it. I don't know if playbook is the right word, but that's not mine to give or share with anybody, nor have I actually seen it. But it's like, man, could have been yours.
It could have been yours.
Going with
That's
a different
right.
company. But
That's right.
superpowershq.com/commercially speaking. Not only will you get a life-changing executive assistant, but one that really has the success playbook on how to support and help make a commercial real estate entrepreneur successful.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
Couldn't
amazing.
recommend them highly enough.
Also, we got to mention CRE investor coach, our friend Brad Arns. I helped him make some videos of some people who went through it, and it blew me away. And their link is always in our description. CRE investor coach. If you're interested in taking that step into moving into investing from brokerage, that would be a great way to.
Or just getting into investing in commercial real estate.
Yeah, or up in your game and investing in commercial real estate. CRE investor coach. It's from what I've seen, just phenomenal.
Yep.
So, love you, man.
Love you, man.
Bye, Alice.
Bye, Alice.
You. Bye,
Bye,
Bridget.
Bridget. All right.